Hello, my friend and earthly neighbor, and welcome to another fabulous week and what I'm calling Jumpstart January. And this week, indeed, that's what happens. We have a mega stellium new moon love fest day on Tuesday, and Sensei says it is not just a new moon, it's the start of your future. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your weekly Namaste today. Welcome to Namaste Today, an astrological way to kickstart your day. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Sensei Christopher Witecki. Welcome back, my friend. Namaste. Well, we are in the consciousness of Capricorn. And if you don't know, Capricorn energy is the energy we use to make decisions, find our direction, and create our legacy or future. And so far, I'd say this transit has been about what not to do, cutting off from the past, changing certain trends in our life. But this week, with a mega stellium new moon on Tuesday, we're going to choose our future and head toward it. So in this week's show, I'm going to talk to you about committing to your future and walk you through the 5 days of this upcoming week. And later in our tea time, I'm going to discuss the stellium new moon and how it hits each of the 12 signs. But first, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is from Monday, January 15th to Friday, January 19th, 2018. Looking at your 5-day moodcast, examining the week at a glance, it begins very quiet, climaxes with a new moon, and continues to climb in intensity. Let's drill down. On Monday, it's cloudy, overcast, and quiet. Step 25 rules the day, and spirituality rules the way. On Tuesday, it's sunny and sure, with the new moon and love fest both coming in at step 26. On Wednesday, it's sunny and super active. Step 27 rules the day, and the moon moves into Aquarius, allowing you to detach. On Thursday, it's sunny and creative. Step 28 rules the day, and we are manifesting our new future. But then on Friday, it's overcast and super tested. Step 29 rules the day, and the moon in Pisces might make you worry. Well, looking at the week ahead, this is a final climax to you taking your power. And our next segment this week, I'm going to walk you through each day and talk about the new moon. Taking a sneak peek at the upcoming week, I coined this week, committing to a new future. Now, we're in the Capricorn consciousness, and as I mentioned in the show open, this is the part of human beings that actually makes decision and directs our life. And I think it's no coincidence that we start the year in Capricorn, or you could say we start our yearly calendar in Capricorn. That's probably because the human race sort of felt ages ago that this was the time that we really were planning for the given year. And now that we have been in Capricorn for almost 3 weeks, it is time to come up with our final decisions and make commitments to where we want our future to go. Now, what makes this year interesting is that Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, is in Capricorn. So that means this year, we're not only making decisions about our given life in 2018, but we're making decisions about decision making. We're deciding what should go into a decision and also which direction should we point. So many people are going to be making some big changes in their life, particularly this week, when we commit to a new direction with our mega stellium on Tuesday. So I want to walk you through the week, Monday through Friday, and talk you through how these decisions will unfold. And let's start, of course, with Monday. On Monday, I predict to be cloudy and quiet. In fact, you probably spent the weekend thinking about what your decision should be, what direction you want to go. It was a big meditative weekend. It was a big picture on Saturday, and it was a mulling over on Sunday. And on Monday, you're basically meditating as to whether or not you should move forward. So Monday is an intuitive day. The moon will be in Capricorn, and the only thing I really want to stress about Monday is that you don't judge yourself too harshly. In fact, Capricorn is probably the most judgmental energy there is. After all, it's the consciousness we use to judge our future and determine where we need to go. But on a day like Monday, if you're self-critical and you're blaming yourself for mistakes in the past, you're not going to be able to intuit the right direction that you want to go. So Monday's a good spiritual day. It's a good day to listen to your guides. It's a good day to stay open. On Tuesday, this is the mega new moon. And I'm going to talk about this in our tea time, but this mega new moon is composed of 2 stelliums, 4 planets at the top of the spectrum and 3 planets at the bottom of the spectrum. And what this means is that we're going to kind of have a double whammy here. We're going to be cutting away from stuff that we don't want and cutting towards something that we do want. Now, step 26 is what rules this new moon, and step 26 is how we feel, step 2, and what our heart can easily open up to. And that's the real thing to keep in mind. Now, Capricorn is a very ambitious energy, which means we tend to make decisions for the big picture, for the total mountain. But at this stage of the game, Spirit is saying, just decide what feels right and what you can open up to. And so during the day, I think as the moon climbs up to the apex of the new moon, where the moon and the sun come together, I feel like you're going to be kind of building up to this decision. So don't expect to know the decision right off in the morning. But by evening, when it apexes, I think it apexes around 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific in North America. By this time, you should be clear on what you're open up to. And then the moon will cross over Venus for Love Fest Day. So I'm predicting that you're going to really feel kind of a jubilation and a joy after your decision. So Tuesday is probably the most serious day, and it's probably the turning point in your story. Wednesday, it's step 27, sunny and active. And the moon moves into Aquarius on Wednesday, so that means we can kind of get a break. We're going to get a little bit of a foreshadow of what the next transit is to come. And it also means you're going to be able to detach from your decision and put it into motion. So you may come up with the decision on Tuesday, but Sensei says take action on Wednesday. Move forward with it, call someone, sign the contract, etc. All planets are direct. Then on Thursday, it's sunny and creative. We are holding space. Step 28 rules the day. Thursday is a great day to actually make a new start. So you might take the action to move forward on Wednesday, but you might actually sign the lease on Thursday, start the company on Thursday, go to LegalZoom on Thursday, that sort of thing. It'll be the day where we start to really feel our world coming together. And I think Thursday of the upcoming week will probably feel the most solid. But then things kind of go topsy-turvy on Friday. On Friday, step 29 will rule the day, and the moon will move into Pisces. And what this does is 2 things. For one, step 29 is our tested step. So every decision that you've come up with, every direction that you've chosen, all of it will probably come up into question on Friday. So don't feel bad if you have buyer's remorse on Friday, because that's to be expected. I think what you're really doing is you're kind of playing through all the things you've done, and you're feeling out what's accurate and what's not. But also the moon in Pisces brings kind of a spiritual bent to it, and I feel like we're going to feel our life changing, we're going to feel our spiritual story changing on Friday, and that will be another reason to kind of second guess. So Friday will probably be the toughest day of the week, but the good news is it's the last day of Capricorn. Now, with that said, I think the new moon deserves a lot more investigation, so go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is the Stellium new moon. This is a very powerful new moon, in my opinion, because it involves several planets all working in what we call stellium. A stellium is when 2 or more planets come together in a conjunction, so they conjoin together. And so what you end up doing is conjoining these conscious forces into one force. And in this particular stellium, we have 3 planets at the bottom of the scale and 4 planets at the top of the scale. Let me explain. So first of all, let's talk about what we're committing to. At the top of this new moon, the sun is at step 26. Now, step 26 is a grandmaster step of Capricorn. That's because the 2 and the 6 add to 8. And Capricorn is the number of 8. So this means to me that we're not only making a commitment to our future, but we're making a commitment to commitments. So we're kind of defining the consciousness and defining the direction of the consciousness in one fell swoop. So I would not be surprised that you are using a different measure by which to make commitments this week. Perhaps in the past you have made commitments based on money or based on power or based on influence, which is really the old Capricorn system of control. And it could be in this particular new moon, especially if you're watching my show, you might be taking other things into consideration, such as your feelings, your protection, and what your heart tells you as well. So in this stellium new moon, we are redefining what we call control, and we are determining which direction we want to go. Now, the sun and moon coming together are two states of awareness, and this is known as the new moon. This happens once every month, and this goes all the way back to paganism, to be honest with you. Even the pagans understood that when the sun and the moon crossed paths, there was a new beginning. That's because the sun is our heart consciousness, what our heart is focused on, and the moon is our emotional awareness, which is basically the rest of our entire soul. So what you're doing is you're making a commitment between your heart and your feelings, and once those two align, manifestation is set into progress. Now, there's two other planets that are coming into this, which happen to do with birth and death. On the high spectrum, we have Venus, which will be at step 28 Capricorn. Step 28 is I manifest. So as you're making a commitment to this future, you're not just committing to it, but you're opening up to manifest it immediately. And having the sun conjoin Venus means that we are creating karma or creating life or manifestation at a much faster rate than usual. Because as soon as we create it with our heart, we open up to accept and receive it almost immediately. So these will be manifestations and commitments that you see results on faster, I believe, than usual. And then at the bottom of the spectrum of this stellium of 4, we have Pluto at step 19. Now, step 19 is I manifest, and Pluto is I protect, or you could say Pluto is also the death consciousness. So this says that as we open up to manifest a new direction with Venus at the top of the scale, commit in the center of the scale, we are at the bottom of the scale kind of shutting the door to our old reality. And that's also very interesting about this year as well. Most of the time, when you commit or create something new, you don't necessarily destroy the old at the same time. In fact, a lot of times we'll create new and then we'll have our old life still kind of haunting us or bugging us or on our heels. But in this particular manifestation, you are creating new and killing the old simultaneously. Now, that's just the first stellium. We have at the same time another stellium at the bottom of the Capricorn scale, and this stellium will be between Mercury, old black Lilith, and Saturn himself. Now, Mercury will be at step 8, which is amazing to me because that's what I call a soul harmonic. So we have step 26 with the sun and moon at a high 8, and then we have Mercury at the low 8. So Mercury is our thought process, and that means at the time of this new moon, our mind will be deciding and committing to cut away old regime, old ways of managing our life, old ways of approaching our life or being in control of our life. So as I mentioned earlier, we are redefining what control means to us, and in this moment, we are turning our back on that old system of control, which again is pretty unique. Like I said, most of the time we create new things, we don't think to turn away from the old things. Now, Mercury is going to be conjoining Black Lilith, which is at step 7. Black Lilith is the epicenter, or Black Lilith moon, is the epicenter of our fear. And this usually goes to past life memories as well. So this says that this decision that we're making with Mercury is probably turning our back on a karmic pattern or an old fear cycle that we have been living for a long time. And then finally, Saturn is also conjoining those two planets at step 3 Capricorn. Now, Saturn is what we're taking responsibility for. Step 3 is us opening up to new understanding. So we are in the same moment turning our back on fear, committing to leave an old regime, and opening up to a new regime, all within one powerful new moon moment. But wait, friend, there's still more. Jupiter and Mars are also conjoining at this time still in Scorpio. Jupiter is at step 19 Scorpio, which means we are opening up to new boundaries with ourselves. So this is not just about committing to this new control and ending an old regime. This is about ending an old boundary structure. Things that you were open up, what you once were open to, and now you are no longer open to. And at the same time, opening up to new things that you may have not been open up to in the past. Mars will be at step 24 Scorpio and still in conjunction with Jupiter, which means you're not only holding space for a new boundary structure, but you're reaching out with your ego and actually going for the new boundaries or the new rules. So in very simple terms, this is a very profound line in the sand new moon. This is where we're saying there's the old life and there's the new life. If you want to say in kind of a commerce sort of way, this is almost like declaring spiritual bankruptcy, okay? Like you are saying the old life is dead, you're starting with a new credit rating, you're starting with a new system, and you're moving forward with this new future. Now, there is a couple of other things I want to point out before I go into each of the signs. One is that this new moon will square Uranus at step 24 in Aries. And Uranus is direct. It has been direct since January 3rd. Uranus squaring the sun suggests that whatever new policy you are creating, whatever new law or new self-government you are creating, this probably goes against the character you have been so far in life. In other words, there may be fears at the time of this manifestation that you're not strong enough to do it, or that you don't have enough courage to follow through, or that you don't have the energy to do it, or that you're not capable of doing it. And that's okay. That's to be expected. That's because you probably have not lived this new regimen that you are proposing. You probably have no experience with this. And with Uranus in Aries up until May, you're going to be growing as a character significantly from this commitment forward. So don't worry that you haven't done it before. Don't worry that you are questioning your strength and ability to do it. I believe the universe is going to provide all the energy and all the resources necessary, but this fear, I think at that moment, will be natural. It's not a reason to turn back or undo your commitments. The other aspect is the North Node will be at step 14 Leo on the new moon, and this has just moved. It will be at step 15 on Monday, and then it goes to 14 on Tuesday. So whenever I see a degree change like the day before new moon, I know it's significant and it's part of the recipe. And having it at step 14 means that this whole decision to file spiritual bankruptcy and create a new spiritual credit rating with yourself really involves you taking your self-love now to a higher level. And that's something you want to kind of put in as a litmus test to what your commitments are. If you're making a commitment to something new in your life that doesn't raise your self-love to a new level, it's not the right commitment for you, okay? It must be a commitment that is going to call for you to love yourself more, call for you to invest in yourself more, call for you to be more loving and compassionate to yourself, and don't fall into the trap of just future thinking. What I mean is, whatever your commitments are, they should be able to apply the next day, okay? That's one of the traps of old Capricorn power is one day I'll get there, one day I'll retire, one day I'll have my joy. And if you're making decisions for one day instead of starting tomorrow, you're in the old Capricorn regime. Now, with that said, I want to walk through all 12 signs for you like I always do. And of course, I also have the sign put up on the side of the frame for you to see what sign it is. So feel free to scroll up to your sign or your rising sign if you don't have time to watch all this for all of your friends. Today, I'm going to talk about what each of the signs is deciding at the very bottom. Okay, so what that Mercury, Black Lilith, Saturn conjunction is. I'm going to talk about what you're committing to in the high end of Capricorn. So those are the two sides. And then I'm going to talk about what Jupiter and Mars are calling for you to open up to, this new boundary structure. Okay? So let's begin first with Aries. Aries are the purebred, so they always fall suit to what everyone is doing on a grander scale. What they are doing is they're making basically new decisions in their life. So Aries are probably making simple new decisions to do or not do something, to cut away from an old pattern. This will probably apply to their sun sign and their rising sign as well. So they're making a lot of clear decisions. And that could be as simple as buying a house or selling a car or moving to another place. On the high end, they're committing to a new career and a new legacy. So Aries are making decisions to commit to a new future plan. And this means that they are opening up to manifesting transformation. So this is all for the effort for them to transform their life completely. I think we're going to see a new Aries by summertime, particularly as Uranus completes its cycle in Aries. So It's new decisions, committing to a new legacy, and opening up to manifesting transformation. Taurus. Taurus is deciding what to believe in themselves and what to not believe in themselves. So at the bottom of the scale, Tauruses are figuring out what they can believe about themselves. This is so that they can commit to a new life purpose or a new meaning of life. So what is life worth or meant for anyways? The big questions, right? And what this means is they have to open up to manifesting new partnerships. So Tauruses are going to manifest new relationship partnerships and new boundaries with partnerships, and this is to suit their new belief in themselves and their new career legacy or their life purpose. Geminis. Geminis are making new decisions to trust themselves. So at the bottom of the scale, it's time to trust themselves in ways they haven't before. At the top of the scale, this is so that they can commit to transforming their life. So they need to trust themselves so they can transform their life ahead. And what this means is they must open up to manifesting a new daily lifestyle. So Geminis need to change their work, change their daily routines, and change what they do in the moment so they can trust themselves and they can transform themselves. Cancers. Cancers are making decisions for new marriage vows. So they're making new promises to themselves. And these new promises to themselves is so that they can commit to new long-term marriages and partnerships. So I think we're going to see Cancers hooking up and Cancers divorcing after this, all right, depending on the Cancer. And for this to happen, they must open up to manifesting what their heart truly wants. So in other words, Cancers are opening up and changing their boundaries about getting what their heart wants right now. That means that they have new commitments to themselves now and different commitments to other people. And I'm happy for the Cancers. They're on a love path. Leos. Leos are making new decisions about their health and daily regimen. So how a Leo lives in the moment, how a Leo lives in their body, how a Leo treats their body. So they're making very rudimentary decisions about the way to live day to day. And this is allowing them to commit to a whole lifestyle. So this is them pointing to the royal lifestyle, to living on a higher level. And for this to happen, they need to manifest new emotional security with themselves. So they're changing boundaries with themselves and how they treat their feelings. And by changing boundaries of how they treat their feelings or how they live with others or at home, they're able to change and make new decisions about their moment-to-moment reality so they can create and manifest a greater lifestyle. Virgos. Virgos are deciding on new self-love. And that's huge because a lot of Virgos do not love themselves. They have all these reasons why not to. So they're deciding to love themselves in a new way. This is allowing them to commit to serious joy, the ability to have great joy, great abundance, and the ability to manifest their personal dreams. So by deciding to love themselves, they're committing to manifesting their heartfelt dreams. And in order to do this, they have to open up to manifesting a new attitude. So a new attitude in their mind and new boundaries with their thinking are necessary to trust themselves, love themselves, and manifest their personal dreams. Libras. Libras are deciding to commit to new self-nurturing. So Libras tend to be in their head. They don't always look at emotional nurturing as important. They tend to be in a lot of anxiety before they do anything about it. So they're deciding to feel better, basically. And by deciding to feel better, they're committing to new emotional security. So by making that small commitment at the bottom, they can manifest emotional security at large. And in order to do this, they need to manifest new boundaries about what they're worth and new boundaries about what they intend to manifest. So them wanting to be worth more and wanting to open up to manifesting more is important for them to be able to nurture themselves and feel emotionally secure. Scorpios. Scorpios are deciding to think differently. Okay, so their mind is very fixed in the way they think, and so their decision is they need to think differently. This will allow them to commit to a new attitude or a new intellectual property. So if you have a Scorpio who's an artist or an analyst or a programmer or a writer, this might be also that you can manifest some sort of huge document, okay, in cyberspace or whatever, some manifesto, as they say. And in order to do this, Scorpios will have to manifest new behavior. So your actions have to change, what you open up to doing and closing down to doing certain things. And this will allow you, by changing your behavior, to think differently and commit to that manifesto. Sagittariuses are making new decisions about what they are worth. And I think Sagittariuses have, for the most part, sold themselves short. From most Sagittarius I know, they're worth a lot more than they claim to be. So they're making decisions to be worth more. This will allow them to manifest abundance. Okay, so by deciding they're worth more, they're opening up to manifesting real abundance. And in order to do this, they need to open up and manifest inner faith. So they have to open up to inner faith. They have to hold space with inner faith so that they can decide they're worth more and manifest abundance. Capricorns, happy birthday, Capricorns. Capricorns are making decisions about their ego and their defenses. So they're making new decisions about what they should defend and what they should not defend. That's huge. What this allows them to do is manifest a new character or new behavior in their life. So they're going to be able to manifest a whole new version of them. They're getting kind of a personal makeover with this double stellium new moon. And in order to pull this off, they need to change their boundaries in the world. So they need to change what they open up to the world, the markets that they do business in, let's say, the people that they align themselves in the world. Those kind of worldly boundaries need to change so that they can change their ego defenses and they can change their overall character. Aquariuses are making a decision to be fearless. So they're deciding to turn their back on fear and turn their back on karma. And by making this decision to turn their back on fear and karma, they're going to be able to manifest higher faith in themselves and be able to discover their spiritual mission, why they're on the planet in the first place, why they have incarnated. And in order to do this, they're going to have to manifest new boundaries in their career and legacy. So that means they have to open up to doing things in their career they may not have before and close down of doing certain things in the career they might have in the past. And by making these career changes and decision-making changes, they will be able to turn their back on fear and manifest a greater faith and spiritual purpose. And then finally, the Pisces. Pisces are deciding to have a new belonging in life. So they're making decisions about the kind of people they belong with, the kind of neighborhoods they belong in, the kind of businesses they belong being part of. Okay, so they're deciding where they belong and where they don't belong on a very tiny scale, like the small, simple stuff in their sphere of influence. By making those decisions, they're going to be able to commit to a social influence. So they're going to be able to commit to their social status and where they belong in the world, their public reputation, their politics, etc. And this will only happen if they open up to manifesting new beliefs about who they are and new beliefs about what their purpose is. So by opening up to new beliefs, new education, and new philosophies, they will be able to decide where they belong or don't belong, and they'll be able to commit to their social influence and what they're here to do on the planet. So as you can hear, it's a very intense transformation. And I just want to stress that even though we're making profound big changes, it always starts in tiny little steps. And Capricorn tends to have us want to think of the big picture or think of the finale. But really, what we have learned in the last 30 years since Saturn was the last time in Capricorn is that power is not in the future. Power is in the moment. So make sure that all the decisions that you are committing to will have an immediate effect on your life in the next day. If it doesn't, like I said earlier, you might be falling into the old Capricorn trap. All right, well, I have a couple of announcements. For one more little reminder that I have recorded a Countdown to 2018 seminar. This is a 3-hour video that walks through the entire 2018 year, which I think is going to be pretty profound. I think we have a lot of surprises and raised eyebrows this year. 5 eclipses, 2 retrogrades, Mars and Venus. You can still purchase a copy, and I also give you a spreadsheet that lays out for all 12 signs what to expect for 2018. So if you're interested in that, visit soulmart.me. I also want to invite you to our little place on Facebook called the Namaste Today Club. This is basically a Facebook group where we kind of gather and we post headlines, we post questions, and I also invite other spiritual practitioners to post their business and advertise for what they do, because I believe in creating a spiritual community. If you'd like to be a part of our community, come visit namastetoday.club. All right, friend, I hope you have a good week of transforming your life. I'll be back next week when things ease up and we move into Aquarius. Until then, remember I love you and to live, love, be.